Okay, so what I've handed out is the cards saying, in an ideal world where money, manpower, and resources are unlimited, what would you wish for that would make you the best teacher in the world? Totally open-ended. Totally open-ended. Okay? No limitation. And don't stop yourself from making hypothetical wishes as well if you want to. On the other side, reversed, and I've got it in big, in an ideal world, and on the other side it says, in a realistic world, given the opportunity, what types of professional development and support resources would you wish for that would help you facilitate better learning? So one side is hypothetical, totally off the cuff, whatever that comes to your mind, but specifically to make you a better instructor. And on the other side, unfortunately, reality reigns. Think about your own institution, think about your own job description. What would you wish your employer to give you that is already in place? What systems you already have in place in your own institution? And I think there's some cards, extra cards over here. So we're gonna start it. And my name is Rose. I do have, at the moment, we've got 3 people online. I am waiting for one person, Jerry, to come online. And they're
I'm here.
Collaborators. Well, come on in. You can see, you can walk through here. You don't have to squeeze through the back. You can come this way if you need to. You can. Come on. We've got a whole bunch of people coming in now. That's great. Come on this way because it's going to squeeze that side. And I think there's some cards over here. We just started. I am introducing myself, but I'm also asking you to dream. The cards have 2 questions, and it's kind of important that we ask ourselves these questions when we start this, because the project that I'm about to present has a lot to do with these 2 questions. So now that we're kind of down, I'm sure if you do come in, I won't rewind, I won't stop, just continue going. So I'll officially start now, since it is now officially 12:01. My name is Roz Hussin, and welcome, come on in. You want to come this way, there's more space on the side, and grab a card. And from the University of Nebraska, we are, okay, let's try that one more time. We are running an experiment right now, and you guys are part of it. This is a live experiment that started in 2012. I'll run through a little bit of the history, introduce the people who you see online, and there might be one more person coming in online. There is a continuation of the session after this at 1 o'clock for the fully online people, and as well as people coming in online worldwide. We have a facilitator coming in from Egypt who's going to be doing that session with me. The title of this presentation, and I'm going to see whether my technology continues to work for me or whether it's going to fail me last minute. Hopefully not. So for those of you who are online at the moment, and there might be people who are going to be watching this as a broadcast later on, the information is right there. How many of you do back channeling in the conference, like Twitter, or kind of look at stuff? A few of you. If you want to, Twitter handle, that is also part of the experiment. So Twitter or Google Plus, or even on this document itself. So if anybody does have a device, I see one person there, you're welcome to go into this document. And I'm going to go ahead and right now change it so that it is open to editing by everybody. Go ahead and do that. Everybody can edit. Just change the access so everyone can edit this. If you see there's somebody online, you are welcome to add notes and comments on this live. This is part of the experiment. I'll explain as we go along. If you participate, that's great. If you don't feel like using technology to participate, you can use any of these extra pieces of card and write your questions on the cards as well, and just pass it to me. And technique that I'm going to use is we're going to photograph that and just kind of plunk it into the slides. So we can use low technology and hybrid technology and put that in as well. So that's the precept of this session before we start, that we're going to do some active participation because we're going to demonstrate and simulate the project that I'm presenting today. So I will move on. The next step is, it's kind of a gimmick, but not really. $100, that's about the last thing. You know, I forgot to go and get money in the bank before I came out. So this is the only dollar I have at Nebraska. And there's a line on the floor here. You know, they say that, you know, you put your money on the line. I'm going to go ahead and put my money on the line here. And I'll let you know what that's all about in a little bit. Come on, you want to come this way? There's more space on this side. Come on right in.
Ooh, you left the cameras.
Well, that's part of it. So if anybody wants to play along with me, and put the, it's just $1. You can have it back later on, or you can find out what it's all about. So if you want to play along, play along. Thank you. It's not for my benefit. I'm not telling you what it is, but this is part of the game, it's part of the activity, and it's part of what I'm going to show to you today. So if you're game for it, put it in. If you're not game for it, that's fine. Thank you, sir, for playing along. All right. So you've got the dollar going. So I've officially started, even though people are still milling in, but I did start 3 minutes early, so it's okay. You can catch up. I'm simulating a classroom, by the way, a normal classroom. All the classrooms that we deal with, higher ed, people come into class the first day of class, they come in, they trickle in. You're trying to tell them what the syllabus is about the course, and this is what happens. So I'm actually simulating and sharing with you the experiment that we're doing at the University of Nebraska. We started out with this ideal world activity. So those of you who haven't done it, oh, I am not, thank you. So I need to change on this one. Hold on a second. All I needed to do was to do this. There you go. I'm not going to panic. I just had it on the wrong screen. I do have, like, 10 devices on at the moment, but that's part of the experiment too. So I'll explain a bit more. On the card, for those of you who came in late, please kind of read the question. In an idealistic world, go crazy, wish for the stars and the moon. On the reverse side, be realistic. Okay? And you can keep doing that while I continue talking. Because you know what we do in the classroom every day? We have students prepare something at the beginning of the class and we keep talking. Here are some quotations. And these are real quotations from people that I've worked with. And I'm going to read this out only because it's a little small for you guys. I want to design my course to incorporate new content, methods, but I don't have the time to spare for training for the semester parts. And this is a research professor, maybe 20%, 25% of his load is supposed to be for teaching, the rest is for research. It's like, I want to do a good job, but I really don't have the time to do anything. Second one is an adjunct instructor. And this person says, I have expertise in my subject area. That's why this person got hired. However, I have no experience teaching college level because they're in the industry. They're working in the industry. Their content expertise is working with professionals, not with 18, 19-year-olds with, all kinds of issues going on in the classroom. The next one is a graduate student, and this is very commonly heard. I came to UNL, the place where I'm at, or I came to the US to do research. Yeah, my teaching, I have to do, it's part of my contract. But I wish I had more guidance on how to teach effectively. So the college graduate students, they are actually asking for help. And the last one is a tenured professor who, this is a real person, 2 more years to retirement. Why do I need to do professional development training? I'm about to leave, but you know what? He wants to. I want to do good instruction. But I really don't want you to tell me the theory about instruction. Please don't give me a lecture. I've been doing this for 50 years. But I want to know how to help myself. Come on over this way, otherwise you might have traffic jams over there. And this is wonderful. We've got quite a group here. We can play along. So those of you who came in, look out for those cards. And a lot of and you can fill those up. So this person says, I want to experiment. I want to learn new things, but I want to do it without risk. Now just as a show of hands. Does any of this sound familiar to you guys in your institution? Oh, yeah, all of it, pretty much. So this is the issue that we have at hand. And this is something that I've been observing. And I kind of said, there's got to be a better model for this. And we don't have too much to do training for our faculty before classes start. We don't have the budget to do it for all our adjuncts. We don't have the budget to train everybody. We just kind of assume they're going to learn it through osmosis. A lot of people do, a lot of people learn through time. What happens when the expectations go up and there is no time? So here, let's see if I can kind of move up here. Let's see. Okay, so as a good instructional designer, which I am, not good, but instructional designer, I'm trying to be good, not very good at yet. That's why I'm doing this presentation. This presentation is all about failures. All of the things that we tried and maybe did not do so well, but we discovered that the best way of learning how to do things better is from examining what we didn't do so well. So I'm going to start with findings. We start from the end. And I'm going to let you know these are the things that I'm going to show you today. If we don't get to all of them, because the time is going to be quite limited, this presentation is online. And for those of you who do have your devices, if you wanted to share, you're welcome to write on the comments tool or even write directly on the slide. All I've given full permission to everybody. Just go ahead, insert new slide, and go ahead. Can you guys, Kristen and Julie, whoever, can you go and demonstrate what we mean by back channeling directly on the slides? So if you have a device, and some of you will be online, and later on I'm having another session at 1 o'clock, a continuation of this, which will be open online to worldwide. We've got some people coming in from different countries, and they're going to experiment with us. Okay? So if you want to play along, you're welcome to play on the slides and add a slide if you feel that this is not the location you want to add it on to. So the people who are involved in the experiment, they range from full-time, tenured, fully promoted professors to your brand new adjunct to graduate students who just started their graduate school and they were asked to teach a one-on-one level course. And these are people who want to do well as instructors, but maybe don't have the support systems. A lot of times we think that training has to do with teaching technology, but discover that's the least of the problem. Learning the bells and whistles and knowing where to click is not the problem. So what are the things that we've been focusing on? Because University of Nebraska is really big on football, so I thought I'd use this as an analogy. We all know who moved the cheese or the goalpost is being moved, and I think you guys know this problem everywhere. It's a major problem everywhere. Every time you try to solve the problem changes. What happens is that when that mobility, and I'm not talking about mobility just being a cell phone, we're changing the vocabulary. Mobility is we need to have mobility in our work flow. How we do things needs to be very mobile and very adept. And that's what this whole experiment is about. And I'm going to rush really quickly through these slides because I want to have our guests that are online do some of the talking. So I'll give a very quick background. Title, I kind of made it catchy, M4P. It's a play on the MP4. Having popular acronyms is also part of the formula. So those of you who can relate, we're playing a game. If you want to put your dollar on the line, I'm not telling you what it's for yet, but it's not for me. So if you want to play along, there's that. There's also the card. And the next one is popularity and acronyms. How do you make something really pop and make something really cool and make something really, you know, on the tip of your tongue? These are all some of the things that we discovered in this experiment. So I think this guy, Swan, said something about it has to be spreadable, movable, and pernicious. I don't know that. I did this move. I co-taught it with Dr. Paul Kim from Stanford in 2013. That was the beginning of this experiment. We failed miserably, and it was wonderful that we failed because then we discovered what never to do again, and we took some of those ideas and moved on. Next level in, rather than doing a MOOC, I took some of those concepts and brought it into the classroom in mainstream public institution, your regular bread and butter stuff. And so this gentleman here, Dr. Lopez, experimented with me. We did some web literacies, and that kind of works. It's just historical. And this is where we are today. We've got a whole new group of people because the previous people have either retired, graduated, gone away. That's another problem, right? The people you work with, you develop, they get a better job, they retire, they graduate, and then you start from scratch again. So that's been my problem. I'm going to go really fast on this. So we've done that. Here we go. So this lady over here, Kristen, you want to start getting ready? I'm going to put you on there. So she's there, Kristen. So she was my first experimentee. That sounds terrible. Basically, she experimented on me and I experimented on her. We almost died together that year. She was a first-time graduate student working with a tenured professor who all this while had only been teaching 20 to 25 student small group, small section, 3 times a week, very small group discussion type course. Suddenly that year, those courses became a required, we call them ACE courses, general education type required courses, and he was asked to teach, what was it, Kristen, 5 sections?
Yeah, 5 sections, so 90 students in total in the lecture, and then we had the 5 sections for recitation sections that were breakout.
Yeah, and this person, John, I mean, I love working with him. He had never used computers before that. He did minimally, whatever, but we all died and, bled tears of blood together, and it was great. Christine, until today, works with me today, Christine. She's actually a faculty member in a college of her own. She graduated, and the skills that she learned from that do or die experiment carried with her. So I'm going to keep quiet. I'm going to let Christine talk a bit. Christine, shall I stop? Screen share, or just leave this open?
Well, you can just leave that up. So I am currently working at Nebraska Indian Community College and teaching 2 courses at the moment this fall, and then we'll be teaching 2 more in the spring. One of them is a face-to-face class with 15 students, first semester of college. The second one is actually across 2 campuses, so we join each other or class via video teleconferencing. And so one of the things that I've really benefited from was still learning how to be able to successfully have interaction even when we're across 2 different campuses. For example, getting students to participate and interact online and be part of building into that lecture too. So
the experience that Christine had was, it was a face-to-face course that she was running with Dr. John Rabel back in 2012, and it was face-to-face with 90 students, 100 students in a big hall. So engagement is a little bit of a problem. What we experimented with, and so the key takeaways from her experience were, how do you do a hybrid situation where you have physical face-to-face, but you utilize technology in an engaging way so that you can do those mass courses? The second is they always had this attendance problem because the class is so big. How do you actually take attendance and know that they're actually there? How do you make sure they come in on time instead of being late? So we created a situation, and then grading. Nobody wants to grade 100 papers a week. That was the previous assignment method. You read a chapter, you go home, you take some time to write a 1-page something. You do that for 15 weeks for 100 students, you've got 1,500 papers to mark. You really don't want to do that. So we revamped the entire course. Instead of doing a 1-page paper, they still had to read, they still had to do their content digestion, and then they had to produce a 30-second video. So grading for the instructor and the GAs were like a Monday afternoon, lunchtime, brown bag, and then you kind of just get together with your sandwich and you watch the 30-second videos, because the videos were meant to be the summary of what they understood of that reading. So the takeaways from that is, how do you experiment and find methods that work with 0 time in training? So Chris, we talked about how week 1, and we kind of like kept playing along every week and changing and fine-tuning it, and it was a very fluid working relationship. So we're not presenting just the pedagogy to the student. what we're presenting here, what is the pedagogy between an instructor and instructional designer?
Mhm.
How does the instructional designer and the instructor become mobile themselves? That's the point there. So, Christine, I'll shut up for a second and go ahead.
So one of the things that I really benefited from in that first semester was that we were meeting as a team. Well, let's see, in that first semester, it was at least once a week for sure, for like 2 or 3 hours. And we would actually be able to, see where we messed up and see how we could improve for the next time. So, trying to do a live survey in class where we had that lecture of 90 students and we still wanted them to participate. What does that look like in live class time? We had to work out some kinks, and so it ran smoother the next time that we did it. But it was all a learning process that I know I keep learning from. So
very much, she graduated. She's a doctorate of her own and running her own courses, and we're still in contact right now. So when you build a community of practice, that's one of the key takeaways, is when you build a community of practice, if you're able to create that personal relationship, that stays with you regardless whether you're done with the course, because in her case, she's done. She's no longer a PhD student there. She graduated, she's gone off on her own job. But those relationships stay. And we're actually experimenting some of the stuff that we're doing at UNL. She's doing a parallel out in her institution, and that kind of works too. So thanks for saying. I'm going to move on because I want to make sure we give time for everybody else to talk as well. So that was a loose arrangement between one professor, 2 GAs, and myself. Fast forward 4 years, several iterations away, many times failing in the different combinations. So we tried to do a larger scale, because how do you scale this community building? So we got a little bit of leeway. We got permission to run a zero but totally not official kind of pilot. But those are best because it's actually people who want to be a part of the pilot because they really believe in the cause, not because some top-down person told them they have to do it. So we're talking about grassroots. So just a little before I talk about grassroots, live activity, I don't know if anybody else is in this. There's one computer there, few laptops, people. I'm going to try and
wrong URL or something.
well, there is, if you go on that URL, it takes you to here, you click on slides then. Okay. So it'll take you to it will take you to a folder. And in the folder, you see 4 items. There's the slides, there's abstract, there's the broadcast, and there's this thing called groups, which I'll talk about in a little bit. Okay. So here we go. I'm going to talk about syllabus. We all have syllabus at the beginning of our semester, and we all say, this is the Bible, this is our contract. We tell students, we outline everything that we expect them to do. So at the beginning of this session, I kind of mentioned, if you want to Twitter, go ahead. If you want to write your notes, go ahead. If you want to do whatever, go ahead. Write your ideal and your realistic. How many of us actually do it? This is where we fail. We tell people our expectations, but we don't handhold people through the process, and we don't give time for the students to actually do the stuff we tell them to do, because we don't tell them when to do it. We just kind of throw all these instructions and expect the student to manage their own time. And that's what I did just now. Some of you go and then try to multitask and listen at the same time. It doesn't always work. So these were some of the things that we discovered. Those are the pieces that we need to develop professionally. It's not about learning a tool. It's not about learning how to use Canvas or Blackboard or any kind of technique. It's how do you coach your students to do the things you want them to do, regardless of what tool you use, paper, online, Twitter. I've given you every possible tool that you could use, whichever one you want. There was freedom, absolute freedom, but how many of us are able to cope with it? So it's not about using the tool, it's about getting people to be able to get over that threshold, hand-holding. On that note, and I'm going to bear in mind, it's not like I want the money. I'm just letting you know, don't forget that $1 thing there. That's part of this whole formula as well. So grassroots, some of the techniques that I brought into the classroom in the bread and butter classrooms came from the MOOC era of 2012-2013. And one of the things that we learned is that the power of community is really important, and don't underestimate that. So I just want to put that at the back of your mind. Some of you may have heard the word connectivism. There's a whole slew of literature. People don't believe it's another thing. You say, okay, there's behaviorism, there's cognitivism, there's constructivism, this connectivism, and maybe in 20 years when all the people are no longer around, then we'll remember them as, oh, the connectivists, because Pavlov and all those guys had to die before they became famous, and maybe, you know, we'll have to go away before we're famous. But that's so. Talking about a long time ago, this guy, Sir William Curtis, wrote this in 1795, and we're still using it. We call this our basic literacy. You know, the 3 R's, they couldn't spell, don't ask me. So in 2013, we proposed 5 R's. My group of collaborators, we proposed this when we did those MOOCs. And we said 5 R's are read, respond, research, like the most important is reiterate. So I won't go into that. There's a whole bunch of literature for that too. But let's see. I don't Jerry's around, so I'm going to call on her. But Jerry is actually somebody who tried a technique for the second time. Christine is now doing the same thing. So I'm going to ask Christine if you can come back, and Julie, I'll call you in a little bit. Hang in there. We haven't gotten to the beautiful part of it yet. But Christine, if you can kind of talk a little bit about what a chaos dump is, since I don't see Jerry on right now.
Jerry is online.
I am here.
Yes.
I am here. I've been here.
Slide the button on the right.
I love these people that help me. They're top right.
Next to Kristen's video.
Okay, hold on. I can do this. Okay, Jerry, you are on right. Okay, Jerry, do you want me to open up CD 0.5 or course intro?
Sure. 0.5 is a good one.
Okay, and the reason it's called 0.5 is because we created all these things before semester started, so CD1, CD2, and then we discovered, oh, no, we need a CD0. We didn't do a course intro, and then after, oh, it's got to be one in between, so it became 0.5. So that kind of tells you how fluid that this whole thing has become. So let's see if I can do this. All right, Jerry, let it rip.
Okay. Yeah, I like the spontaneity of this, being able to just come up with slides and present an idea to my students, and they always respond to this. I give them a question, and then they basically fill in the blank. I had an idea to just ask them, what is art history, to introduce them to the subject. And I also keep attendance on these CDs, so that's very handy.
By the way, CD stands for chaos dump, and as you can see, it's quite chaotic. But the idea is that it's free flow, it's fluid. So instead of the chalk and talk, instead of the students passively listening, it was a requirement. It is a requirement for the students to participate. The same way we do it in conferences, back channel. As the speaker is speaking, then the students are required to type or to draw or to take pictures and to dump pictures and thoughts onto a communal location. And by doing that, it causes a different kind of learning engagement. So go ahead, Jerry. Sorry, I didn't mean to.
That's all right. It surprised me how well it went the first time. I just sent students out to collect images of what they felt was art or what attracted their eye, and they came back with a load of images, and we just took each one of them and discussed art history terminology, and they had a great time.
So imagine this can be used for any subject matter. You have a classroom, you have students respond to a prompt live in class. And imagine if the students who are absent because they're sick, they can also participate in class even though they're not there, and it's all real time. And then what Jerry did was she gave them a question, she made them answer, and then when she looked and saw that they're falling asleep because, you know, it's like minute 25 in a 55-minute class, okay, go run out and go find an image. So with just a cell phone, they all went out there, took pictures, came back, uploaded those pictures, and then continued talking about it in real time on the subject matter that she was lecturing on. So lectures are no longer just passive. This is the second iteration. First iteration of this methodology is one of my grad students who's not here right now because she's still stuck at the airport. So hey, Zoe, if you're watching online, you know, I'm talking about you. So she tried this last semester. So I tried this method, helping her to do it, and we kind of failed miserably, but you know, it didn't quite work out. And so what I did was I really took a look at what was my failure as an instructional designer? What did I need to provide to Zoe as an instructor to make her not be successful with her students doing this methodology? Took that, really swallowed my pride, you know, sat down and kind of like, Zoe, okay, hate me, scream at me, do whatever you wish, you know, let's figure out what the problems are, even if you're not willing to do it again. And she's like, no, I'm not doing it this semester. That's okay. Jerry, and it was great. And then Jerry's mistakes, whatever I made mistakes with Jerry, shared with the next person down. And so Christine is now doing it in her college, in her institution, making waves even better than what the first two iterations were. And this is called rapid learning on the go. Jerry, you want to tell the audience here about your fears when you first started, your learning curve, when you first did the CD without me, and you know, the first time in class it was great because I was there, we were both co-teaching it, and then all of a sudden I left you alone, and then you okay, go ahead, I'll let you tell us.
Well, I'm all thumbs when it comes to technology. I feel, or especially when I'm in front of people. So that was one obstacle I had to get over, just making sure I was calm when I walked in the room, and realizing that my students were also learning the technology. And so when I finally realized I wasn't the only one learning, and that also is reflective of the way I teach. I would rather the students learn themselves rather than just lecturing them over and over. Because if I talk to them about what is in the material that I've given them, what is it that they can learn that's new? And how do I know this? You know, I can have these conversations with them in the classroom rather than being so disconnected from them. And I'm amazed when I talk to my students how they are applying what they learn to their own life. And so it allows much more flexibility in the classroom, but getting over the technology, that fear, was the first step.
And from the instructor's point of view, it's the same thing. Notice how she's talking about nothing to do with her actual subject content. It's all about life and how it makes meaning to the students. Same thing between the instructor and the instructional designer. We tend to forget that we're learners too. And so when I focus on being on trying to help the professor learn the technology, then my focus was how to help the professor in her life, her tasks, the things that matter to her, and how to fit that into her personal life as well. Then suddenly the magic happened. And for that, I'm going to call upon Julie Torquati, because she's a professor in that subject area. How do we actually nurture? She's a professor in child, youth, and family. And we actually have expertise in this, but when do we use it for ourselves? We know how to nurture, but why don't we nurture ourselves? So I'm going to have her come in. There's a few slides that I wanted to show, you know, when we fail on something, then we kind of have to like really take stock of what we're doing. I'm going to fast forward on this. Julie, are you ready to come on board?
Yeah. What would you like?
But before I put you on, this is my favorite slide, because you know, if you don't do something, nothing actually happens. And so, but how do you do that? How do you kick someone in the butt without actually kicking them in the butt? So that's what Julie's going to talk about. There you go. So Julie.
Yes. Oh, that's right. Babysitting and hand holding. So this is how we bring the students along. Yes. Is this what you want?
We can hear you. We can hear you.
Okay. I unmuted, and can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, we can all hear you.
So the babysitting and handholding is about how we bring the students along. Yes, is that correct?
Yep.
Okay, so really for the students, they're not used to this because typically people are using the pedagogy of presenting information and occasionally asking questions, but that students take a more passive role. And so I really found that the more structure and guidance you give students up front, and Rose really helped me with some ways to do that. And I mean, even from the perspective of not necessarily the techniques we were using, but instructions on every little detail about how to handle the technology. And magically, well, not magically, it makes sense. A lot of the student frustration about that disappeared. So they really did not complain about what we were asking them to do in terms of writing blogs, linking them to the Google Plus page, commenting on other people's posts, and then putting those links into the actual course. But it really is about providing a lot of support up front and then really letting the students take over gradually over the course of the semester.
So translate that to adults. How do we do that with professors? Can I just get a show of hands? How many of us here are instructors versus instructional designers? So instructional designers, quite a number, and then the rest are instructors or administrators.
I don't have enough hands to put up.
Well, there you go. So we wear many hats. How do we actually translate those pedagogical, well-known, tried-tested, and proven theories for ourselves? It's not so easy. But actually it is, because it's the same formulas. We have to have a carrot. We have to have trust. When I asked you guys to put money up front, there was only one person in the room who had the trust or the courage to come up here and say, I'm willing to play. All the money. Right. That means the prerequisites, right? But then, we also know that, it's kind of dangerous to go out without money at all. Like me, I left Lincoln, Nebraska at 6 o'clock in the morning, and after the plane took off, I'm like, oh my God, I forgot to go get cash. What if I needed something for the cab? And I had no cash on me. We know this thing, but are we prepared? No. Same thing, whether it's a 19-year-old or whether it's a 50-year-old, we're all the same thing. So if we just take the same pedagogies and apply it on ourselves, but we as instructional designers have the courage to do that to our faculty, how many of us have the courage to do that? It's kind of hard. I'm going to show this picture. I can't skip over it, really, seriously. How many of us dare to do this? How many of us dare to do this? Not many of us dare to do it. There's a certain in-your-face kind of attitude you have to do. If you do it with the right intent, it's okay. We tell this to our students all the time. Why can't we do it to ourselves? Why can't we do it to our fellow colleagues? So fast forward, okay? And are you ready, Valerie? Almost your turn to come on board. So thank you, Julie, by the way. That was awesome. This is, none of these people prepared for today. That's the other formula is don't make people feel like it's a burden. They don't have to prepare for it. It's okay if it screws up.
Well, Rose, and if I could interject, I think that trust allows us to do that too.
Absolutely.
So you said, let's do this, and I knew that it would work.
We've died many lives together, and so I think if you build that trust, it will work. But if you don't build a trust, then this is what happens. You just get a coffer with $2 in it. But that's the investment. This is symbolism of investment. If you want a course to be successful, you gotta have investment. If you want a course to be successful, you gotta have investment. But how do you invest when you don't know what the outcome is? How do you invest when nobody told you what the outcome is? I didn't say what the money was for. But you gotta build that level of trust. It's an uphill battle, right? So I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys. We created that. The bootcamp thing. We're now in week. What are we? Is it 13 or 14 now?
13, I think.
13. When we hit week 8, oh my God, it was so sad. We were like, of the 19 people who put their names on the pilot, maybe 7 were active. We're like, what a wonderful 45% success rate. great to report. I was so embarrassed, but then you know what? Something happened. Magic happened. The trust was there. We went to this conference. Oh, not really conference. It was a graduate student roundtable discussion. And those cards, that's what we did. We built a little thing, this triangle thing, fake wishing well. And we just kind of put it in the middle of the table because the 3 students were taking this boot camp for credit, which, by the way, was an interesting combination because we had 2 students who were PhD students who were just full-time PhD students, and one is a full-time tenure-track faculty coming back to do another graduate degree. So taking it for credit because she believed, hey, let's try this. And I'll have her tell you guys what it's like. But before the roundtable discussion was great, and one of the people, I think on this diagram here, I don't remember this person. She said, you know what was really cool about this? It reminded her of her childhood. When you were a child, people said, what do you want to be when you grow up? And you have absolutely no restrictions. You just go ahead and you imagine the world. And we've lost that as professionals because we're so realistic. We've lost the ability to aim high. We're too realistic, we're too cynical, but this is important. So that's part of that trust thing, is that if you can dream together, if you can actually have a goal that seems to be unattainable and you're willing to go for it together, that's a very important formula in building a community of practice. And we talk about it, PLN, Professional Learning Network, CPP, community of practice. What actually are the formulas that go into it? And these are some of the very important key formulas. And so we found out at that table during this little roundtable discussion that even though the pilot failed, it was actually a massive success because from that we discovered what is possible, and we now have this thing called the OOPS Ed. So I'm going to let Valerie Jones, and she's a professor and also taking this blended course for credit. I mean, she doesn't need to. She's tenure track, you know. But she decided to do it because that's the only way that you are willing to put money on the line. It's when your name is on the line. So that's another way of doing it. So Valerie, you ready?
Yes.
All right, Valerie, let it rip. Tell people about OOPS Ed.
Hi, how are you? So this came out of, as Rose was saying, I guess first of all, can you hear me okay?
Yeah, they can hear you.
Right on. So this came out of kind of that wishing well experience, and it's something that I've been thinking about for a while. We in academia like to write articles with empirical evidence that are proven and things, and then get them published about the amazing things that we do. And that is great. That is part of the process. We learn from those things. But we also learn from the things that don't quite make publishable article status. Just the little moments. So the kind of the informal moments of learning, like I tried to do this and that didn't work. I mean, things that Jerry talked about, Christine had talked about, where we experiment. And maybe it didn't turn out the way we wanted to. Maybe it didn't turn out well. Maybe it turned out different than we'd expected, but we still learned from that. And there's not really, that I'm aware of, a platform for really sharing those experiences, because I think we would all agree that we learn from mistakes, yes? We try to tell that to our students and convince our students that, you know what, it's okay to fail, but just go out there and try your hardest, right? Because even if it doesn't turn out the way you wanted it to, you'll learn something from the experience. You'll build on that and you'll be a richer person for it. And so this was kind of born out of that idea of how do we learn from our mistakes, and how do we share those with other people, and where can we kind of extend this community of learners that Rose has kind of built and that we've all been attracted to, and extend it to other people, so that we can all learn from these informal kind of educational oops type of moments, and make it a larger conversation than that we're able to have in a small group of, 8 to 10 to 20 people in the pilot, or other people that get involved. So this is what we've done. We've created this OOPS Ed kind of platform space. So there's a blog that is just a shell right now where anyone can. What's that?
I was just saying it just started, so they get the context of this. You guys are the first people to hear of Oops Ed. I mean, we've done the pilot now, week 14, and we actually started twittering it last night. We knew that we wanted to launch Oops Ed. The idea is that what if it's not this formal thing? What if it's just a concept? And a lot of times things actually spread like wildfire, taking those MOOC concepts where if you have an idea, it just goes with it. If you have an oops moment that you want to share, that you think another instructional designer, another administrator, another instructor learn their oops moment, share it in whatever manner you want to share it with. If you don't like to use Twitter, do it in whatever way that you want to do it with. You have a blog, you have your own classroom, whatever. Go to a conference, hashtag it as oops ed. Maybe a year from now, we'll have enough oops moments to start, really saying, what are the things that matter? What are the actual learning moments that we can get collectively as a profession, as a group of professionals who know what to do, but then we don't always get it right the first time. Maybe by collectively creating a culture of oops sharing, it might make things a whole lot faster in terms of that learning curve. The internet changed everything for education. Why not making human interaction change everything? I mean, let's bring the human back into that internet piece. We've got many different tools we can use, and it's so interchangeable nowadays that moving goalposts. Why not? Let's leverage the whole search bar. We don't have to all contribute one website. We don't all have to come together to one thing. Just go do your own thing in your own institution. This is not a copyright thing. Just go ahead and do oops whatever. That's just a call for action. Hopefully you guys would be interested in that. And I would love to hear if you tried doing any kind of oops sharing in your own institution. So there. And I think it would be great if we leave the last few minutes for anyone to respond. They can hear you online. If anyone have questions for these guys online. Almost everybody online, I call everybody online, right? Julie, you're on board now. Oh my goodness. By the way, Julie had an operation this morning. She's going for a mammogram now. She's going for a mammogram. Talk about mobile learning. This is the kind of community of practice that we created. We contact each other on the go. Not every day. I mean, there was like a whole, 5 months that I didn't even see you, Julie, because, she's busy moving and doing stuff. But that's the kind of trust that you build if you do this crazy relationship stuff. So, and somebody's opening the door, tell me that my time is almost up. Last, come on, shoot questions, everybody.
What is the oops blog?
The oops blog.
Yeah, it's oopsed, so oopsed.wordpress.com.
Okay, hold on. Let's see if I can do this live. Okay, OOPS.
Ed, ED.
Is there an underscore?
Nope.
Oops ed.
.wordpress.
Oh, .wordpress.com.
And I just opened it up like half an hour ago. So
okay, so here we go. You guys are like the initial group of people hearing about this, and hopefully it will you'll hear more about it by next year. So
the hope is that
this was kind of a fun thing to do today. I hope it wasn't too much of a waste of anyone's time. You may have your $1 back because the old one. Now you have we'll meet again. That was my last $1. All right. Here, everybody online. Thanks for coming online. Anyone online can stay online. I have to rush to the next one because we actually have a group of people online who are coming in internationally as well. I need to figure out what that room is, and my residents are still up here. I hope they would arrive so that they can help me carry all the equipment. So if you bear with me, I'm going to start trying to move stuff away. And if you can bear with me, just stay online. I won't hang up. What I might do is I might stop this recording so that I can actually do. Thank you guys for coming in and stop recording.